Hi, thank you for watching. In this video, I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of using the Big 7 method of division and the traditional method of division. So let's use an example here of 324 divided by 3. This is the Big 7 method, so we take 100 groups of 3 first and we're left with a 24. And I'll assume that the student has not mastered his entire multiplication table. But most students at 9 years old would have known his 1, 2, 5, and 10 multiplication table. So at this point, he's going to use a 5. He's going to use a 2. And he's going to use a 1. So this gives me a total of 108. Okay, so here are the pros of using this method. The pro is that it's grounded in logic, right? Because you can see that he is pulling out how many groups of 100 to make 300 here, right? And then also it prevents careless mistakes, because you only have to know the 1, 2, 5, and 10 multiplication table to solve this question. It makes it much less accident prone. Right, so in a way, it's easier for a child to perform this division. Okay, I'll talk about the cons afterwards. Let's do the traditional method of division over here. So 1 times 3 is 3. Bring down the 2. You can't fit 3 into 2, so you gotta put a 0 here. You gotta multiply with a 0, subtract it here, put a 2, bring down the 4. Now you have 24, so you gotta know your 3 multiplication table to know that it's gonna be 8, and then you subtract and you find no remainders. Right, so here's the advantage of using the traditional method. It is pretty quick. Right, so it's pretty efficient to use this method. And that's about it actually. It's pretty quick. But there's one more advantage actually. There's one more advantage which most people do not know, is that this method of division allows you, to do this. You can't fit a 9 into 5, so it's 0. And now it's 50, so how many 9s fit into 50? Let's see, 3 9s, 5 9s, 5 9s, right? 5 9s fit into 50. Bring down the 5, you're gonna have 5 again. And then it continues. So this allows you to do decimals, divide decimals, whereas the Big 7 method does not allow you to perform division with decimals. So this is more versatile than the Big 7. Why then do we teach the Big 7 method to children? Because eventually they're going to have to learn the traditional method anyway, right? Which is more versatile, right? Because they've got to divide decimals eventually. So here's why I do it. Now I do it because for the children who are learning long division in Singapore, at least, they are usually 9 years old. And at 9 years old, not every child has developed the skills of multiplication. Not every child has memorized the entire multiplication table. So there is a limitation to performing the skill of long division. You need the skills of multiplication in its entirety when you're doing the traditional form of long division. But in this case, you don't have to. It's easier because they can just use the 10, 5, 2, and 1 multiplication table, right? But and also, because it's grounded in logic, it's much easier. You see, when we teach something, we want to link it to something they already know before. And so they already know how to multiply 3, 5 to make 15. They already know how to multiply 300 to make 300. They already know how to do that, and they know also how to subtract this kind of vertical subtraction method. It's familiar to them. There is a link, right? But what I do, very importantly, what I do is I very quickly transit to this method by the time they are in primary 4, which is 10 years old, because they need that when they are dealing with decimals eventually. So I don't keep them stuck here. That's not true. I make sure they very quickly go across to this method as well, which I encourage all parents, all teachers to consider that as well. Alright, so I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Talk to you soon. Bye.